Now today I'm going to be talking about a topic that I've wanted to speak about for a while. It is something that's probably very controversial. I'm going to share with you my honest opinions about the Rolex watch market. So to understand the Rolex market, we have to go back to the year 2020 or 2019 when the pandemic first hit. Now, if you remember, in the early days pre-pandemic, we're talking about 2018, we started 2SecondsWatch in probably 2017, 2018, before the pandemic. And during the time when we started it, we wanted to make sure that 2SecondsWatch business was a business where we could focus on watches that interested myself and Nicholas. And one of the things that we said was not to focus on Rolex watches. Now, this was a time in 2018, 2017. I remember walking to the AD, you could find Rolex watches. I recall specifically when I was shopping for my watch, you could get a Rolex Explorer, at the time Rolex Explorer 39mm at retail. And I recall that even the ADs were giving a discount on them. You could get a significant discount on Rolex sports models, steel sports models. I know. At the time of recording this video, this is something that we cannot imagine anymore. But we have to know that Rolex at that time, you could find Datejust, you could find, the gaudy two-tone Rolexes, they were all there. Datejust, Oyster Perpetuals, these were all commonplaces. When you walked into a Rolex AD, when you walked there, you could actually say, hey, look, I felt like buying a luxury product and I could walk to the Rolex AD. You had a good treatment or fairly good treatment. You could try some watches. Of course, you could not find a Daytona. You could not find a black Submariner. You could find some Sea Dwellers, maybe if you're lucky. But definitely you could find Yachtmasters there and some of the higher end watches as well. So there were still sports watches at the time. So that was a very different time. And then the pandemic hit. So when the pandemic hit, we have to remember that, Bitcoin went up, everyone's locked down. There was a lot of money flowing into the market. You could see this in stock markets as well, investments. We had the Bitcoin boom, and it was just so much money going around, especially at that time. I would not be surprised, lots of cases of money laundering were starting to happen as well. This is when the time watch dealers started sprouting out as well. And you started seeing Rolex flying off shelves, Rolex going up, 20, we're looking at steel sports watches doubling and, totally doubling in value and sometimes even tripling in value, which is absolutely crazy when you think about it. Because, money was flowing in. There were so many people going to watch dealers, became watch dealers, and a lot of them not even watch dealers. They were just people who were flippers, flipping Rolex watches. Those who had connections to the AD, they would get a Rolex watch out and they would flip it. It was so fast, they would sell it out to the secondary market and people would just buy them like they were candy in a candy store. It's absolutely crazy. And you know that most normal people at that time, when they were making money, they will go to a watch store, they will go to a second watch dealer, and they will ask, hey, you know what watch should I buy? I've made some money, I've got money, it could be a case of money laundering, it could be, them booming in the business or anything from Bitcoin, other investments, speculative investments, and they say, hey, look, I want to buy a luxury timepiece. The purpose is very simple. They probably want it to hold an investment value, or some kind of secondary value. And what better brand to do that than to buy a Rolex sports model? And eventually, sports models were so hard to get that they became any Rolex model, pretty much. They had the perception normal people would come in, they would buy a Rolex watch, and that would, in their mind, hold a value. And actually, it's not just their fault. Most of the watch dealers, they were the ones who were in the watch business, trading and selling Rolexes. They had a lot of Rolex stock. They were getting it from ADs. They know you can make a good profit of it. So they want to sell lots of it. So they would tell these potential customers as well and say that, hey, look, if you're looking for a watch, a good watch that you want to start in a luxury timepiece, go with a Rolex. Okay? Because look at the market, look at it. The demand is surging, if they would even have buyback programs. I know some of you might have heard this if you're watching this video, where you can go to a watch dealer, buy a Rolex, and they will give you 100% of the value, or possibly even more of the value if you decided to trade up when you bring the watch back after a year, or sometimes even less than it. So it was in the interest of most watch dealers to sell these Rolex watches, okay? Because they have lots of stock and everything. We all know that Rolex makes the most watches in the world. If you open Chrono 24 today, you search for a Daytona. Heaps of Daytonas, okay, in the marketplace. You can get one anytime. It's just the price, right? The 2 times the price, 3 times the price. A Submariner, same thing. These are not rare models. And I was watching a video recently, Austin from Watch Symposium. He said that, and in his opinion, I think it's not a very popular opinion, but I agree with the opinion. He said that Rolex prices will continue to drop. And I agree with that. If you look at watch charts, if you've been studying the Rolex market, the index, you would see that they're starting to reach around the pre-pandemic levels, okay? Pre-pandemic levels. So let's not forget the pre-pandemic levels were already pretty high then. They've been surging then. I believe they're going to go down. Now, we have to understand why Rolex prices surge. When you think about it, during that time, the prices of luxury goods went up. These are the same for Pateks. They're the same for some other brands like APs in the market as well. There were much less of these watches in circulation. So the dealers love Rolex because they were easy to acquire, to sell, and to trade. And they knew that this Rolex that was easy to acquire, sell, and trade would give them a lot of profit. And it is partially the fault of the watch dealers that pushed these market prices up. So as the demand grew, many people got into the watch business as well. It was easy money. You get a Rolex from an AD, flip it in the secondary market, someone will buy it, okay? Because there's a perception that Rolex will hold its value. And yeah, so that's where you go. So it's easier to acquire. There were many of them, and it's easier to sell as well. If you notice, there's so many of them being posted online at the time. There still is. And the supply has been coming in as well. I mean, Rolex makes more than 1 million watches a year, and that's quite a lot of luxury watches if you think about it, compared to the other brands. When you think about it, there had to be a market for these watches. Of course, we know that Pateks went up as well, APs as well, but yeah, most of the market was the Rolex index because it was the largest. It is still the largest luxury watch brand by a margin. I mean, if you compare it to even the second Omega, it is so much larger than that. It's like so much of the market share. I mean, Rolex is taking 20-30% of the Swiss watch luxury industry, and that is a phenomenal amount as well. So that's why the dealers went to Rolex, and that's why Rolex prices kept going up, because people had the perception, including the dealers, that the prices would never come down. Average people, dealers, is the same. It just kept going up and up, and they always believed that it will retain the value. Which comes to what I want to talk about. How do you know that it is the right time? And if you want to know when is the right time to buy a Rolex, we also have to understand why the Rolex prices have been trending down. If you look at watch charts, they make good videos on the market and the correction. I'll put a link to some of the videos on Rolex. If you follow their watch channel, you can see them talking with data as well, talking a lot about the market correcting, and even some steel watches starting to trade around retail price or just slightly upper retail price. You're starting to see that as well. It's going to continue to correct. If you think about stocks, you think about investments, they're all correcting as well. You also have to understand one of the other reasons why there's so much correction as well is because Rolex is actually increasing production. So in 2022, if I'm not mistaken, or 2021, Rolex announced that they were acquiring a land. They were building this. They're going to build a new factory, and I think by 2024 or something, the new factory will be in operation. You will start seeing more Rolex watches being produced, and when you start seeing the production going up and the demand is going down because there's less free money in the market today. We're talking about post-pandemic. We're talking about Bitcoin. We're looking at Bitcoin is collapsed. Well, not collapsed. It has dropped a lot significantly compared to its highs. Stocks, investments are all on the downtrend. There is a global recession going on right now. And Rolex is increasing production, manufacturing. I mean, we don't really know if they're going to increase much of the production, but obviously they're going to put a factory to use. I think Rolex also is trying to position themselves like buying a Ferrari. Like if you go to a Ferrari dealership or some high-end Aston dealership or something like that, you can't just go and buy Ferrari. You got to place an order. You got to be someone, to buy Ferrari. But the problem is this: Rolex is not a Ferrari. They're not in volume as low as buying supercars. We're talking about massive volume. They're a mass market brand. Okay, Rolex are mass market brands. Okay, it's not like, if you look at the road today, wherever you stay, you spot, maybe a couple of Ferraris, okay, because they're produced in such limited quantities. But when you look at a Rolex, you're gonna get in. A lot of people are gonna have them on their wrist. Okay, so their reason is they want to go into this kind of market where they're doing. But I think there's a problem. Another thing that they're not telling you as well is many dealers I mean, I've heard the story about dealers as well. I mean, we don't really deal in Rolex watches. That's why, we can share about this. But I think this is gonna ruffle some feathers. I don't know if you noticed this. If you are looking at a Rolex watch, they actually share their stock as well. So this is a practice that's quite common among watch dealers. They will list it at one place for a certain price, and another dealer will list it at another price, and they have an agreement. Whoever sells it first or sells it to that market, they will get the watch and they will sell it. And they have some kind of agreement where they buy the watch and sell the watch. This is quite normal in the industry. So you've got the same watches listed many places, and that's the reason why sometimes they don't show you the boxes and the papers, not the boxes, but the papers. If you notice a lot of Rolex listings on the internet or on Chrono or other watch platforms, you won't see the serial numbers because people will straight away know that they are the same watches being circulated around. They're rotating the Rolex stock between different dealers. And one of the things they're doing, if you notice carefully as well, some watch dealers do this on Chrono as well. They mark it as sold. You would think the watch is sold, okay? Because it does get passed from dealer to dealer, they get sold. But it's not really so many people buying many Rolexes. So you would think that, oh, okay, this Rolex is sold. These three dealers, they were listing the same Rolex watch. Let's say a Submariner is sold, for example. So it could be the same watch. And this is a common practice. They do that. That is also a reason why these watches are moving around. And sometimes they get relisted again. If you notice, the same watch gets relisted. So it's kind of a strategy for them to show that watches are moving in inventory. So the question is, who's buying? Who are buying these Rolex watches if no one's really buying them? My opinion, this is my opinion, this is what I believe. Also something I've heard in the industry is dealers are buying them. Watch dealers to watch dealers. They are buying from the ADs. ADs, of course, watch dealers have always had a good relationship with many ADs. This is very normal. And who are buying the Rolex watches from retail? A lot of them are the watch dealers buying from the ADs. So to the ADs, they have a good relationship with these people. They are their top customers. They will prioritize customers or clients who buy the most watches for them, who are most profitable to them. And who are the people who consistently buy the watches from them? Think about it. The people who consistently buy watches for them would be these watch dealers or their clients. Do the ADs have to ask questions whether they're selling to a watch dealer? No, I don't think so. In fact, they will look like any other client, except they know that this client has money and they're buying a lot of their watches, right? To them, the ADs will offload to these people. So that's profit for them. Easy for them to sell, easy profit to them, and they will build up sort of the buying list, So for normal people who want to go into a Rolex store, an AD to put their name, they almost would never get allocated. And the reason is because of this. They will always push it to the top customers. And these top customers are actually watch dealers. Now, how do I know this? I've spoken to other dealers who are in the marketplace who told me that they do that. They are clients of these authorized distributors or authorized dealers, and they are buying from them. Okay, of course, they don't just buy Rolex, they buy other watches sometimes because they have other watches, but that is the reality of it. So they buy watches from them. So they are customers, they are their clients, but actually they are watch dealers themselves. Later, they put it in the secondary market and they sell it. Who's to say? I mean, it's business. They're doing business. For the AD, it's an advantage. The AD offloads to the dealer, they make their money. Okay, they sell the stock, they move the inventory, profits made. The dealer gets it. The dealer knows that when they sell it in the secondary market, they make money as well. So both parties are happy. It's a strong relationship, okay? So eventually, there are a lot of these dealers who also come in a bit late and they started buying from the secondary market at a high price and started selling at a higher price because the market was moving up, right? So that's where they get caught. What's happening is, with the Rolex AD situation, is the average customer that should be buying, that the brand is trying to position to sell to, I believe, should be the mass market people. People who are not the very high net worth category, but they're mass market people, they're normal people like you and I who want to celebrate an occasion, who have achieved some pinnacle in their life, a new job or certain careers doing well. They want to walk in to a luxury store, go into a watch store and saying, hey, look, these are the watches I like, and there's a Rolex. The problem is this, they're getting pissed off. Now, if you've been following YouTube, following comments, just following even Reddit, you find out that people are getting pissed off. So when the normal people are getting pissed off, and not happy with the treatment, how ADs are treating them, they can no longer walk into a Rolex store. I mean, think about it now. You can no longer walk into a Rolex store, an authorized Rolex store, to buy a Rolex. It's like a museum. You walk in there and you can try some of their sample models and you got to place an order, you got to play the whole game and things like that. But they're no longer buying. And I think the mass market people are getting annoyed and they're going for other brands. And that's why you see brands like Omega going up, Longines. You see other brands, some of the secondary lower end tier brands are starting to move up market. They're going for different brands now because they don't want that kind of treatment. And customers need to do so, and people need to do so, because when they start doing this, this is when the correction happens. So there is no real shortage actually. I believe that demand is dropping because the normal consumers, the normal customers, the normal potential customers are no longer wanting to buy these products. Okay, and then you start thinking, hey, what about those rich customers? What about the rich people who can just buy any watch they want in the world? Well, here's the truth. Probably a lot of those wealthy and rich people have already bought those Rolexes. They have tons of Rolexes, okay? So they're going to other brands. They're going to other maybe brands that are possibly, more independent watches. They're buying different types of watches. It's no longer Rolexes. So the whole market is being affected now. You got this whole thing that, number one, the dealers are buying from one another. The dealers are getting affected because some of them are holding stock. They're losing money. Okay, they're not able to sell it. People no longer, for better for worse, Rolex and the new brand positioning of putting a name on a wait list and everything. Every normal person who aspired to buy a Rolex walks into the store, ends up buying another brand instead, and they have this kind of treatment which leaves a very sour taste in the mouth. This is just ridiculous, and all these are affecting the Rolex prices and demand. The demand that Rolex is producing more watches, it's going up, and that's why I feel that the prices will keep dropping. If you think about it, some of you might even say that's not possible. Then let me share this with you. It is possible. It's the same thing as people buying property, investment property in China for many, many years. Every property you bought in China, you would make money. This is the time now where there's the property drop. You see companies collapsing. You see it's no longer sustainable, and people are actually losing money. It's the same for oil prices. People say, hey, oil prices will never drop. There's a scarcity. We needed oil, and as one time, a couple of years back before the COVID pandemic, oil prices were all-time high for many, many years. And people say it will never come down. It will never come back down to $40 a barrel or something like that. And it did. It dropped back down. I think that whatever goes up has to come down and can come down. And I believe it's the same for the Rolex watches and Rolex prices as well. So here's my conclusion. So my conclusion is, I believe the market will correct. I agree with Austin from Watch Symposium. I believe that a lot of dealers, watch dealers who are in the business of trading secondary Rolex watches will not admit this, but they are selling a lot between dealer to dealer, market to market, but no real consumer is really buying them at these prices. I believe that a lot of people and the mass market consumer who want to buy their first luxury product are turned off by the treatment and the whole problem with Rolex. They can't acquire one, they're going to other brands. And also, the fact that people believing that it will never drop back at a normal price, just like property market, oil market, they think Rolex prices will never go back down. I disagree. And with Rolex increasing production, we know that all these things are going to come back down. I believe there's going to be a time we're going to start seeing, of course, maybe the Datejust models first in stores eventually. I don't know how soon it's going to come back. I believe it will be coming back in the next couple of years. And you start seeing eventually some, not so popular steel models again. Of course, if we're talking about Daytonas and those popular models, I don't think they'll ever really come. I don't think they'll be available for you to just walk into a Rolex store. There's certain hot models that you can't get, maybe like the Sub, maybe like the Daytona. But for most of the other watches, mass-produced watches, you should be able to find them. Oyster Perpetuals, Datejust, these are the ones that you should be able to find. So they will probably drop back, and I'm quite confident, and I believe that it will probably even drop more. The prices will even be lower than pre-COVID levels. This is a very strong possibility. So the other thing that I wanted to highlight was, I have been watching some other YouTube channels as well, watch reviewers. I think it's kind of disgusting that YouTubers are talking about how, when they want to, they're talking about how they acquired their watches and their Rolexes and things like that. I think it's really sad and disgusting when they say that they are very lucky to be allocated a Rolex watch, or say things like they how tell stories of how they built a good relationship with the AD, and be friendly to them, and so that they get allocated a watch and things like that. How they never use their YouTube, that people in the ADs are not allocating to them because they got 100,000 subscribers on the channel, 200,000 subscribers on the channel, or so that they will mention their AD to other people. Okay, I think it's disgusting. That's absolutely ridiculous, and it is very offensive because you know what, being in the business of dealing with watches and buying watches, we're enthusiasts ourselves. When you buy a luxury timepiece like a Rolex, when you walk to the store, it used to be the only thing that's stopping you is the money to buy it. Nobody walks into a store like that and wants to be treated like they have to build a relationship with AD so that you can be allocated to buy a watch from them. That is absolutely ridiculous, and that is absolutely disgusting. Okay, I'm not saying that we don't treat people well. I'm not saying you don't treat them well, but you don't go into an AD store. You don't purposely, fully, be nice to them just so you want to get a watch. That is not how sales work. It is their job, and they are the ones who are selling the product. They should make you feel good when you go in there and buy a Rolex. So here's my tip. Of course, if you're buying Rolexes that are not in production for various reasons, because you like a vintage style or different thing, but if you're going to buy a current model Rolex, current production model, here's my opinion. Do not buy and do not pay over retail for it. And please do not go to these ADs, authorized dealers. Do not try to, butter them up or try to form a relationship with them. We are just spoiling the market. We're spoiling the industry. After all, buying your luxury timepiece should be an experience that you enjoy. You have good memories. You're treated well, and with good service. With good service, the whole experience, that should be how it should be, and not the way that I'm hearing how people, the lengths of people will do to get allocated a Rolex watch in an authorized dealer. So yeah, these are my opinions, and my opinions, they're very controversial, I believe, and I believe they'll ruffle some feathers. If you like this kind of video, please remember to like and subscribe. It really does help the channel, and it'll tell me that you like content like this, and I'll make more like this. And also, if you have been watching the video as well, if you have any opinions, do share in the comments below and tell us what you think. If you have any experience buying Rolexes from ADs or watch dealers, or the kind of experience that you've been experiencing with a Rolex AD, please share in the comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and engage with you there. Once again, thank you very much for supporting the channel. Thank you very much for watching the video. You have a great week. You have a great day. So I really want to thank all our subscribers and everyone who's supporting the channel and watching our videos. Thank you very much. It really means a lot when you subscribe and you like our channel and to watch our videos. I hope that it's been able to create value for you as well. So to celebrate our 1,000 subscriber giveaway, we are going to give away any watch strap. Any watch strap on our website at TwoSecondsWatch.com. So you can check out the website, have a look at the watches. We have lots of watches for sale. We have some unique pieces. They're curated, pre-owned watches, and also we have some watch straps for sale. So we are going to be giving away any watch strap that you see on our website to the winner to celebrate our 1,000 subscriber. Now, how do you qualify? Very simple. All you need to do is to like this video, subscribe, and also comment on this video. Just comment anything that perhaps in relation to the topic of our video today, and we will be selecting at random the moment we hit 1,000 subscriber. So do watch the video. Of course, for safety, I will not be contacting you via Telegram, WhatsApp, or any of these social media platforms. Any winners or anyone who is selected will be emailed from our official email from our website, twosecondswatch@gmail.com. So we will be contacting you, and we will be getting in touch with you to give you the giveaway the moment we hit our 1,000 subscriber. Also, if you're checking our website, do remember to subscribe to our newsletter as well, so that you can get information of all the drops of the newest watches and the watch straps as well. So thank you very much, and thank you for supporting the video. Again, thank you very much for supporting the channel to help us to hit our first 1,000 subscribers.